You're wrong. Supply increases when price falls. Hey, why did you close the book? What's wrong? Nothing? Let's just move on. I saw her hand push the textbook shut. I knew I had said something wrong. I didn't mean to upset her, I just wanted to correct the fact. But those two words, "you're wrong," they landed like a punch. I could feel the distance growing between us. She wouldn't even look at me. I need to find a better way. Leo says you're wrong to Maya, and she visibly withdraws, closing the textbook slightly. The next sentence decides whether the moment gets worse or easier. That is the moment the tone either tightens or softens. I am listening for whether the sentence repairs the relationship or keeps resisting the correction.
Exactly. We have to work together smoothly. Look, Leo, I get it, you want to correct the facts. We still have 50 pages to cover before dinner. We can't afford to waste time on tension. I opened the textbook to show you how much is left. That's the pressure we're under. Let's keep going, but try to be more careful. I know you don't mean any harm, but the words matter. Our friendship matters more than being right in the moment. Leo states his goal to correct without fighting. Leo wants to correct a friend's factual error without damaging the friendship. In Maya's living room, late afternoon, during a study session. That changes the pressure. They realize they have a deadline, textbook thickness visible.
I think I need a moment. The first guess was, "you're wrong/no." But that misses the real cause. It attacks the person, not the idea, making the listener defensive and shutting down dialogue. The useful wording here is, "actually, I think it's the other way around." Unchanged, Maya's fingers tap on the closed part of the book. Leo tries, "No, that's not right," but tone is sharp. Maya crosses arms. The state of a thick economics textbook makes the stakes visible. That changes the pressure. Leo insists on his correction. Maya's arms tighten. She avoids eye contact. When the room hears, "but I'm right. The textbook says so." You misunderstood. The next line, "come on, I'm just trying to help you learn," tells me whether the repair is finally landing.
I'm sorry. Can you show me a better way? Leo sees Maya's reaction and decides he needs to change. Maya places closed textbook on sofa, then at end, she opens it to a page. Room feels cold, Maya avoids eye contact and the session stalls. That changes the pressure. Leo admits his mistake and asks Maya to teach him a better way. My first reply, "I'm glad you asked. Let's sit down. I'll explain," sounds shorter and colder than I expected. In plain English, the exchange is this: "you're wrong." That follows because trigger the central communication mistake. The risky line is still, "you're wrong." The line worth saving for the next try is, "actually, I think it's the other way around."
It fits because Maya introduces a simple, gentle correction. Maya points to a graph in the textbook showing supply and demand. The next sentence needs to do one job clearly. A usable version is, "actually, I think it's the other way around." Maya explains that "you're wrong" attacks the person, not the idea. Leo understands the problem. That changes the pressure. Maya teaches the simple phrase, "actually, I think it's the other way around." Leo repeats it and sees its effect. When the room hears, instead of "you're wrong," try, "actually, I think it's the other way around." And the answer comes back as, "actually, I think it's the other way around." That sounds so much softer. My first reply, "actually, I think it's the other way around." That sounds so much softer, sounds shorter and colder than I expected.
Maya offers a professional alternative for formal situations. When the room hears, in a work meeting, you can say, "I respectfully disagree. Here's why I think that." And the answer comes back as, "I respectfully disagree. Here's why I think that." That feels clear but polite. The next line, "yes." It shows respect and invites discussion, not defense, tells me whether the repair is finally landing. In plain English, the exchange is this: in this situation, I would say, "I respectfully disagree." That works because diagnose the exact missing tone, fact, or next step. A usable version is, I respectfully disagree. My first reply, I respectfully disagree. Here's why I think that. That feels clear but polite, sounds shorter and colder than I expected.
According to this graph, supply increases when price goes up. That works because after the break in practice, Leo and Maya resume studying. Leo now has the simple phrase ready. Closed at start, opened by Maya to a graph page. Back from break, Leo puts the new phrase to the test. That changes the pressure, textbook is open, they are reviewing a graph, Leo uses the simple phrase successfully. And the answer comes back as, actually, I think it's the other way around. Price goes up when supply is low. The next line, you're right. That's what it says. Good catch, tells me whether the repair is finally landing. In plain English, the exchange is this, Maya points to a graph and states her interpretation. Leo gently corrects using the simple phrase.
Like what? Maya explains that context matters, sometimes you need to validate first. The useful wording here is, I see your point, but I have a different understanding of it. Textbook open, Maya points to a paragraph about fiscal policy. A usable version is, I see your point, but I have a different understanding. Maya acknowledges the phrase works, and they continue studying comfortably. That changes the pressure. Maya suggests that sometimes you need to acknowledge the other person's view first, introducing the polite phrase. By the time we reach, I see your point, but I have a different understanding. It shows respect. I can hear whether I am still defending myself or actually fixing the moment. When the room hears, the simple phrase is great, but if someone is really attached to their idea, you need to validate first.
You said it right, but your voice sounded a little sharp. Try it with a softer rise. The first guess, saying the polite phrase with a flat or sharp tone, describes the surface but not the cause. The new evidence changes the explanation. Maya points out the intonation, they practice softening it. Textbook open, both lean forward. Keep the idea, but change the words for your real situation. They encounter a disagreement in the textbook, and Leo must choose which phrase to use. And the answer comes back as, I see your point. Slowly, but I have a different understanding. The next line, better. Let the pitch go up on point and down at understanding. Tells me whether the repair is finally landing.
I asked Leo to try correcting me using the simple phrase. When price goes up, demand usually falls. His voice was calm, no sharpness. I smiled and said, perfect, that was smooth. He looked relieved and said it felt natural. See? That one little phrase actually, I think softens everything. It turns a correction into a suggestion. Now, instead of feeling attacked, I felt we were on the same team. That's the kind of change we're aiming for. Leo realizes he needs to pause and acknowledge before speaking. Maya demonstrates the correct pacing. My first reply, you got the words right, but you said it too fast. It felt like you were just waiting to correct me. Try slowing down and really taking in my point first, sounds shorter and colder than I expected.
It was. Because we didn't fight. That phrase really works. The useful wording here is, I respectfully disagree. Here's why I think that. Textbook open while they finish, then closed as they laugh. They finish the chapter, laughing, and close the textbook. The study session ends warmly. The next line, I'm going to use this at work. Thanks for showing me, tells me whether the repair is finally landing. In plain English, the exchange is this, we actually got through the chapter. Leo, thanks to you. I feel like I learned more than economics. The useful skill in this chapter is see the positive outcome of polite disagreement. The line worth saving for the next try is, I respectfully disagree. Here's why I think that.
So here's your toolkit. For deeper disagreements, use I see your point, but I have a different understanding. It shows respect and invites dialogue. Here's why I think that keeps things clear and polite. Remember, intonation matters, let your voice rise on point and fall on understanding. That small change builds trust. Your challenge this week, Whenever you want to correct someone, try one of these phrases. Notice how the other person responds. Share your experience in the comments. Viewers hear and repeat the target phrase with pauses. Now it's your turn. My first reply, I see your point, but I have a different understanding, sounds shorter and colder than I expected. By the time we reach, great. Now you try speaking along. I can hear whether I am still defending myself or actually fixing the moment.